Hello and welcome to another day of English 2. I'm your online teacher, Miss Abear. As a reminder, we have been working on a unit called graffiti. Is it art or is it crime? And this is an argument unit, so you will be writing an argument at the end of this unit. So today, well, before I tell you about today, let me remind you that this is Unit 6 on the Common Lit 360 curriculum, and that if your teacher needs more information about this particular unit, they can go to commonlit.org and find all of the information and all of the handouts on that platform or on that website. So, our essential question for this unit has been, is graffiti a work of art or a crime to be punished? And how do we decide? You guys have been reading articles and watching videos about graffiti, its origination, where it came from, and even different types of graffiti. And you've had some conversations about what, are there some graffiti that are acceptable and some that aren't, some that should be works of art, or some that should be punished. You've looked at several different of those things. Before we get into writing our argument, though, we need to make sure that we understand some of that key vocabulary. And so in the Common Lit 360 curriculum, there is a lesson for today called Defining Key Terms. And this particular handout will help you when you get ready to write your essay, so that you do two things. You are using the terms correctly, but sometimes when you write an essay, you need to include the definition or some type of I guess the right word is synonym for those terms that you're using, because not everybody is going to be as familiar with the key terms from this unit as you are. So if the person who is reading your essay is not familiar with graffiti or the terminology that's used during that, especially that idea of tagging. If nobody knows, if the person reading your essay doesn't know what tagging is, then you need to make sure that you help them understand what that is. And so in this defining key terms, you're going to learn how to define these in a way that is effective for you to use these terms, but also for you to use in your essay as needed. Now, as that was said, just keep in mind that your teacher in your classroom is probably the one grading these essays and reading them. But you may be proud of your work and you may want to share those essays with others. And so that's why you have to keep that in mind as far as defining these key terms. So I'm going to leave you to it today. At the end of today's lesson, however, I would love for you to have some type of classroom discussion, whether or not that's in small groups with a partner or as a whole class. That I'm going to let the teacher in your classroom decide how that is facilitated. But there should be some conversation about this particular activity, the definitions that you found, and where you found those definitions. Because I don't want you just to go on the internet and find random definitions. You should be going back to the texts that we read in order to find those definitions and get those appropriate definitions and those appropriate synonyms so that it makes sense for everyone involved. That is all that I have for you today. So until next time, happy reading, happy learning, and happy writing.